This is Bronchoscopy Academy. Who are we becoming? Identity, technology, and the future of interventional pulmonology. This is Henri Colt. When we speak about interventional pulmonology, we tend to describe a field defined by technique, bronchoscopes, needles, lasers, and navigation systems. These platforms allow us to see and act within spaces that were once inaccessible. And yet, if we can step back in time, even briefly, it becomes clear that the history of interventional pulmonology is not only a history of tools and techniques. It is also a history of identity, of how physicians have understood their role in relation to disease, to patients, to other medical and surgical specialties, and to the systems within which they practice. What follows is not a technical review or a survey of emerging tools. It is an attempt to examine how identity in interventional pulmonology is being reshaped at the intersection of technological expansion, increasingly complex systems of care, evolving models of training, and the incorporation of artificial intelligence in medical decision-making. The aim is threefold. First, to understand how the field has historically been defined. Second, to examine how this definition is being altered by increasingly complex technologies and institutional environments. And finally, to consider what this means for the future physician, how we train, how we decide, and how we understand our place within new systems of care that may prove even more consequential than subspecialization, managed care, or evidence-based medicine. Pulmonary medicine originated from ancient observations of respiratory symptoms, evolving significantly after Laennec's invention of the stethoscope in 1816 and Röntgen's discovery of X-rays in 1895. It advanced from 19th century tuberculosis care to modern, technology-driven respiratory medicine through expanding knowledge of lung mechanics, pulmonary physiology, gas exchange, and critical care, exemplified by Ibsen's creation of the first intensive care unit in 1952. Bronchoscopy evolved in parallel, from Killian's procedures in the 1890s to Ikeda's flexible bronchoscope in 1962. In its earlier forms, procedures were limited not only by technology but by visibility. Physicians operated at the edge of what could be seen. Decisions were local, immediate, and provisional. Progress was defined in terms of capability, what we can reach, what we can sample, and what we can treat effectively. Over time, that field of view expanded. Video imaging improved training and communication. Endobronchial ultrasound extended intervention beyond the airway. Navigational bronchoscopy enabled access to previously inaccessible lesions. A growing capacity to palliate and sometimes cure patients with airway lesions anchored a new medical subspecialty known as interventional pulmonology. Each step forward represents an expansion of possibilities. Physicians can see more, do more, and reach farther. The boundaries of practice widened. Procedures that were once depending primarily on individual skill and expert judgment, now relied on multiple layers of support: imaging, software, pre-procedural planning, and systems that increasingly organize and guide decision-making. With each expansion, however, something more subtle occurred. Identities began to shift. Progress can be described as innovation, but it is equally a transformation in how work is structured. Earlier forms of practice allowed for a certain degree of independence, not autonomy without constraint, but constraint that was largely implicit. Decisions were shaped by experience, individual skill, local knowledge, and the limits of what could be seen and understood at the bedside or in the procedure room. Today, that landscape has changed. The modern interventional pulmonologist enters a field that is already structured. Pathways are defined. diagnostic algorithms are in place. Procedural choices are influenced by systems that integrate imaging, prior data, technical considerations, available resources, scientific evidence, and patient preferences. The physician does not stand outside these systems, but operates within them. For those entering the field, this means learning more than medicine and procedures. It requires learning how to navigate these systems, interpret pre-processed information in order to assess its reliability, and learning to operate within frameworks designed to standardize and optimize outcomes. For many of us, training was grounded in the accumulation of knowledge and the gradual acquisition of technical skill. Knowledge was tangible and revisitable, usually one patient at a time. Technical skill was acquired over time through apprenticeship, observation, and experience. This was not simply a way of learning, it was a way of becoming. That environment has changed. Learning on patients is no longer acceptable when alternatives exist. Today, simulation precedes experience. Guidance is embedded in tools. Protocols structure decisions before independent judgment has fully developed. This represents more than a change in educational methods. Today's trainees must not only acquire knowledge and skill, but also learn how to position themselves within systems that organize options, opportunities, and procedural choices in advance. The implications of this shift are significant because when the conditions of training change, the formation of identity changes with them. And here is where the consequences emerge. The modern interventional pulmonologist does not inhabit a single role. Multiple roles converge within the same moment: technical operator, diagnostician, therapeutic decision maker, emergency interventionist, and interpreter of complex systems within multidisciplinary care. These roles do not unfold sequentially. They often present simultaneously. The terrain of procedural practice, therefore, has become more dense. Information is immediate, options are expanded, and decisional pathways are frequently pre-structured. The traditional image of the authoritative physician is now situated within a multidisciplinary environment that both supports and challenges decision-making. Practitioners must move between roles and competing obligations rapidly, often without clear boundaries and without the temporal assistance needed for deliberation. Decisions are thus made within a procedural terrain shaped by technical possibility, clinical uncertainty, institutional constraint, personal experience, and evolving patient expectations. None of these forces are new. What is new is the degree to which they are structured and made visible. At the same time, capability continues to play a central role. It drives what can be done and shapes what is offered within the realm of diagnostic and therapeutic alternatives. New tools create new possibilities, and those possibilities, in turn, influence clinical practice. We call this progress. Looking ahead, these forces are likely to intensify. Advances in imaging, data integration, and artificial intelligence will further shape how information is presented and how decisions are framed. Systems will become more predictive. Probabilistic reasoning will become more precise. Tools will become more sophisticated. And in some domains, the physician's role will become less central. In others, it will remain essential. As medical care is increasingly delivered within these structured environments, systems that organize information, suggest pathways, and identify individualized treatment options, one might ask where, in this evolving landscape, do physicians locate themselves? Until recently, identity was closely tied to capability. Personal skill, knowledge, and experience defined authority and credibility. What one could do, and the consequences of those actions, helped shape the profession. Today, action remains important, but decisions are increasingly shaped by systems that extend beyond the individual practitioner. Physicians participate in these systems, rely on them, and often trust them. At the same time, there remains a need to interpret findings, to distinguish accuracy from error, to choose from among possible alternatives, and to form reasoned conclusions. This is what is meant by judgment. It is most evident in the procedural moment itself, when an often irreversible decision must be made, to proceed as planned, to pause, to change strategy, or to refrain from action altogether. Of course, these changes have implications for training, but they also raise a deeper question. What does this look like in practice? Technology will continue to shape the procedural environment. Artificial intelligence will increasingly influence and at times direct clinical decision pathways. Systems, however, do more than influence those decisions. They pre-structure the space in which judgment operates. Consider something as familiar as managing a pulmonary nodule. The risk is calculated. Guidelines suggest surveillance or biopsy based on thresholds. The system proposes an order set. Imaging flags high-risk features. Before we act, much of the decision has already been organized. Yet the clinical problem is not fully resolved. The remaining questions, how to proceed, whether to wait, to intervene, or to reconsider, still require interpretation. And to answer these questions, judgment is required. It is in this moment, in this margin between what is specified by organized systems and what must still be decided, that judgment operates. In such a setting, what then becomes of professional identity? It is not erased, nor is it replaced by technology, but it is no longer anchored solely in action. As tools expand and systems form around them, decisions are increasingly framed, guided, and sometimes constrained by structures that extend beyond the individual practitioner. In this sense, professional identity is no longer defined by what we do, but by how we assume responsibility for decisions made within systems that increasingly shape what can be done. In the future of interventional pulmonology and across medicine, clinical decisions will increasingly be made within structured systems that present, organize, and weigh information. These systems shape how decisions are approached, but they do not determine what we choose, and it is within that remaining space that judgment is exercised and professional identity is expressed. That space, narrowed but not eliminated, is where future physicians will be defined.